Second race of the triple header takes us to Mexico, and it's time for us to focus on upgrades. The United States GP was a cracker. Charles Leclair took his third Grand Prix victory of the season as Ferrari sealed a 1-2 result with the fastest car. McLaren have lost the competitive edge they had over rival teams with their latest raft of upgrades. Red Bull took a decent step forwards in terms of overall performance, while Mercedes had to endure yet another tough race weekend. To continue with this competitive trajectory, teams will be bringing upgrades to Mexico, and I'll detail you all the information regarding these said upgrade packages, right from Ferrari and Red Bull down to Alpene and RB, so don't go anywhere. Let's start this video with Red Bull's upgrades. Austin was an average weekend for Red Bull and Max Verstappen. While the sprint went Red Bull's way, Sunday's race provided a mixed result as the championship leader finished the race P3 following his close duel with championship rival Lando Norris, while Sergio Perez struggled to move up the field relative to his starting position, coming home P7. The team brought upgrades to the RB20 at the United States GP as they introduced a revised floor edge design and made significant revisions to the car's engine cover. These upgrades were aimed to improve local load generation, working on its consistency while tackling cooling efficiency of top bodywork. And as the engineers back at Milton Keynes had predicted, the upgraded RB20 did just that and had competitive pace both on qualifying and race trims. But an important gain Red Bull made was around the car's consistency, apparent from the positive feedback Verstappen offered over the sprint and race sessions. Yet, two key weaknesses still remains within the RB20. That is the car's ability to keep up its tyres in check to improve stint averages relative to the pace-setting Ferrari SF24, and the inability to maintain performance relative to differing tyre compounds. This result at Austin once again has proved that the RB20 still requires more performance over the step made of recent. So, to sort the RB20's problems and to give themselves a fighting chance in this year's championship, Red Bull is set to introduce an upgrade to the car's front wing, incorporating the flexi-wing elements at Mexico, which the team believes will compound over the floor update made at Austin, improving the car's overall performance. As for the team's Mexican GP prospects, I expect Red Bull to have a strong car here, as the thin air and the aero-based straights and corners should play to the RB20's strengths, and I hope Sergio Perez is able to achieve a decent result at his home race as well. Next, let's focus on Mercedes upgrades. The Silver Arrows had a subpar outing at Austin. The team entered the United States GP with a huge upgrade package with a brand new underfloor, with revised floor fence and edge profiles, revised front suspension, revised engine cover, revised front wing spec, and a brand new overbite styled side pods design. While work on the Friday was encouraging as both Russell and Hamilton had the car underneath them to take the sprint pole, the W15's performance just faded away as the weekend progressed, as Russell had his crash during qualifying, putting him on the back foot for the race, while Hamilton had a disaster qualifying which followed up with the 7-time world champion putting himself out of the race, beaching his W15 at turn 19. With the upgrades on both Russell and Hamilton seemed to suffer with near identical spins at turn 19, perhaps suggesting that the car development had perhaps triggered some aero instability. The same opinion was shared by Hamilton as well following his short race stint. Andrew Chauvelin on his post-race comments raised the same concerns, adding, "As a team we have underachieved across the weekend and are under no illusions that we need to do better. The update kit has shown some promise, but we've not had a single clean session, and we'll leave here not knowing what we could have done if we'd started near the front with a car in our latest aero specification. We will look to answer that question next weekend in Mexico." Mercedes have 2 days max from now to analyse the data from Austin to find out what the problem within the upgrades is and how to remedy them. Wolff confirmed that the team will make a specification comparison simultaneously to understand more about the team's latest batch of upgrades. Also, reliable sources close to the team reported that the team has a beam wing revision coming for Mexico to suit the W15's upgraded aerodynamic package. As for the team's Mexico prospects, Mercedes traditionally have gone well at the Mexican circuit, so I expect them to have a better race weekend here. Next, let's focus on Ferrari's upgrades. Ferrari enjoyed a delightful weekend at Austin. Charles Leclair won the Grand Prix while Carlos Sainz came home second, bagging the most points in the constructors' standings against rivals Red Bull and McLaren. Circuit of the Americas generally exposes any weaknesses a car has, and the SF24 showed all-round competitiveness here, confirming the upgrades Ferrari introduced back at Monza and Singapore are working as intended, and has solved high-speed bouncing within the SF24. But an important gain Ferrari has made confirmed by pace data is around the tyre degradation aspect, as Carlos did a 35-lap stint on the hard tyres, pulling off a valuable undercut and an extreme one-stop strategy. This result at Austin has once again ignited a challenge from Ferrari, making this year's championship a potential three-way fight, as only 48 points cover McLaren, Red Bull and Ferrari in the standings. Fred Vasseur, when questioned about Ferrari's chances of going for the championship this season, the team principal was cautiously optimistic about the team's chances, but did not rule out the possibility. Vasseur also revealed that the SF24 still lacks performance when it comes to cornering performance, specifically around low-speed corners. So to work on this weakness, Ferrari are preparing the final set of upgrades for Mexico. What the new Ferrari aerodynamic package will touch upon is still unclear. It could involve tweaks to the car's floor and diffuser, with further micro-aerodynamic interventions. This upgrade package was previously slated for the US GP, but the team delayed this package to first confirm if its Monza and Singapore upgrades are working as intended. The important fact to note is that not only are these upgrades aimed at improving the SF24, these parts are also aimed at generating data to develop next year's Ferrari. Next, let's focus on McLaren's upgrades. McLaren had a disappointing run at the United States GP. The Woking-based team introduced a raft of upgrades at Austin, with most of it being local performance improvements. Yet, that did not translate into lap time gain on track, as McLaren lacked significant pace to Ferrari and at certain points of the weekend to the Red Bull of Max Verstappen as well. The highlight of the entire weekend was the duel between Max and Lando during the closing stages of the GP, which ultimately landed in favour of Max as Lando inherited a penalty for overtaking Verstappen off-circuit, still somewhat of a controversial penalty. Austin did expose the MCL38 suffering from one key weakness, that being the car lacking pace around slow-speed corners combined with hard braking zones. The team has no upgrades lined up for Mexico, but they do have the huge task of evaluating their Austin package to see where they went wrong last week, to seek optimum balance and unlock more performance within the MCL38, if any more is available. Touching on Alpine's upgrades, the team introduced a significant upgrade package at Austin, revolving around the floor, rear wing and engine cover. That did yield a performance uplift for the A524, but it was not enough to contend for points amongst the competition of Haas and Williams. The team still have a front wing upgrade in the works, and I expect the team to bring that upgrade to the upcoming Mexican GP. Looking at RB's upgrades, the team introduced a floor upgrade which seemed to work nicely for Liam Lawson, who scored 2 points on his debut race, while Yuki struggled to keep up pace with Lawson, which starting higher up the grid, RB are tipped to introduce more upgrades down the line aimed at developing the 2025's car, yet specifics of those upgrades are still unconfirmed. So with all these upgrades, are you excited for the Mexican Grand Prix? We are very much into your thoughts and perspectives in the comment section down below. And on your way down, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to get notified of our future uploads to keep yourselves up to date about the 2024 Formula 1 season.